and welcome to today's reading. Welcome back for those of you who are returning, and welcome to any new viewers that we have. I'll just quickly let you know how the messages come through to me, and then we'll dive straight in. So they come through as a series of words, phrases, sometimes images or little scenarios played out of my head. Quite often you'll see that I'll get something drop in as I'm doing it and I'll go, that's what this means. Now, I will say that my messages don't reach very many people, so if you've clicked on this today, chances are that there is something in here that was meant to find you. And on that note, I'm going to start straight off with two very specific messages that have come through from someone. Okay, now the first one has come through from a lady called Selena. So Selena might be someone who was important in your life, who was passed on. I couldn't quite make out what she was saying because her accent or the language she was speaking, it didn't quite sort of marry up with what I am tuned into awareness-wise. And I think she understood that I was struggling to sort of interpret what she was saying. I could hear the accent that she was speaking in, and it sounded to me sort of Eastern European, that sort of area. But because I couldn't hear what she was saying, I couldn't tell what she was saying, she sent me through just the most beautiful laughter of a child. And so I think the message that's coming through from Selena today, for whoever this is for, is to have joy, to really tap into that childlike joy that's within you. Okay, now the other one is from Scarlett. So it might be that it isn't from somebody called Scarlett, but that Scarlett could be the person who this message is intended for. That wasn't entirely clear either. Or it could be that scarlet means something to you, the colour scarlet. So if that's resonating. And the message coming through from Scarlett, or for Scarlett, was there's no need to worry. Okay. So they're the two very specific messages that have come through. Okay. So, what I forgot to mention before is that my the messages that come through are back up with tarot, so we'll dive straight into the rest of the reading now. So the first message that came through, other than the very specific ones, so as part of the general reading, was just the phrase burned out. So if you're watching this today and you resonate, you have all my love, because I know what it feels like to be burned out, and it's not nice, you know, just getting to that stage where you just can't function anymore. Okay, now when I asked for further clarification from tarot about why this burnout might be happening, I got the Five of Pentacles. Now that is about feeling sort of, well, it's lack mentality, so not being in control, feeling like you don't have enough of something. So Pentacles to me, Pentacles in tarot, sorry, represents the material world. So it might be, you know, there's been a lack of finances, a lack of love, a lack of support. So just something in your material world that's been lacking. And then I also got the Magician in reverse. Now when the Magician's upright, this is all about creating the reality that you want to live in, you know, creating what it is that you want to manifest. So for him to be in reverse, it does feel like a lack of control. So a lack of control in whatever situation is making you feel like there is lack in your life from a material point of view, from, you know, what's in your world. Okay. Now the next message that came through was just a name. Excuse me, and it was the name Haroon. So there was no other message that came through with this, so I don't think it's somebody called Haroon getting in touch through it, but it might be that this message is going to really resonate with you if you're called Haroon, or if Haroon means something to you. Now I did look up its meaning as a name, and it does mean mountain of strength, and I think that's what you're being sort of called to pull on, is your inner strength to get through this this lack that you've been suffering, and it might be that you've already pulled on inner strength to get through it as well. Okay, I also I read an article this morning that really helped to put something into perspective for me as well, and it was all about Ganesha. So when challenges are put in your way, the natural, so the thing that was kind of like programmed to do, well, not programmed, but you know, we hear it a lot in different ways, is that if you have a challenge, it's there to be overcome. Okay, now this article was all about how the goddess, she's a goddess, Ganesha, how Ganesha, she's a goddess, yeah, Ganesha puts obstacles in the path of somebody when she knows that your life needs to take another direction. So it might be that the burnout that you've been experiencing through lack of control and this lack mentality might be because you're being prompted to go down a different route. Okay, whatever you're going through at the moment isn't the right path for you anymore. Okay, but what Ganesha also does is she takes obstacles away. She helps to remove them. And I think that's where this mountain of strength is coming through as well. So the obstacles that you can easily overcome are the challenges that she's put in there for you to learn from, and she's helping to move those things out of the way of the path that is right for you. I hope this is making sense. But the big things that are there that you can't change, that you have no control over, are perhaps the ones that you need to reroute on. Okay, so I hope that message is coming through loud and clear. Let me know if you're called Haroon and this is resonating for you. Well, as always, if any of this resonates, please pop a comment in below. I really love to hear those. Okay, so I did ask for more information from Tarot for this, and I got the King of Cups in reverse and also the Queen of Swords in reverse. So this is all about, I'll tell you what they mean upright first of all. So the King of Cups, he's in control of his emotions. He knows his limitations. The Queen of Swords has clarity, speaks with clarity, speaks her truth. So for both of these to come out in reverse, I will warn you now, there are a lot of reverse cards in my reading today. It's taken quite a lot of sort of interpreting. A lot to come through. It's quite a long message today as well. There was a lot of channeled information that came through. Right, so anyway, back onto these. So for the King of Cups to be in reverse, that what I just said then when he was upright is that he knows his limitations. Now, for him to be in reverse, I feel like it's that lack of awareness of your limitations that could have led to this burnout. Learned to this burnout. Well, there's something that maybe needs to be learned then. Could have led to this burnout. Okay, so not knowing how far you can take something, maybe saying yes to too many things. Excuse me. Yeah, maybe saying yes to too many things, and it might be through lack of clarity. I do think these two tie really nicely together as well. The lack of clarity making it so that you don't know what your limitations are, and also a lack of clarity about what you're feeling as well. Yeah, so I think that could be potentially what's led to you feeling the way that you are at the moment, or you have been recently. Okay. Now the next message that came through was really lovely, and it was, you are the earth, you are its majestic power. So I think it's just a call to remember that we are part of something bigger, and I think sometimes it's very easy to become very sort of lack mindset. You know, when you're in this mindset, it's very easy to sort of go really in on yourself and forget that you're part of a whole big world and that there are things out there to support you. Part of the definition of or the meaning of the Five of Pentacles in the tarot is that you're feeling this lack mentality, but there is actually abundance there. You just need to perhaps ask for help, or just be more open to the opportunities of it. Okay, so you are the earth and its majestic power. It's like looking at what you are part of as a bigger thing rather than just your insular life. What can you draw on? What support do you have? What's there that you can pull on? And you know, just the first part of that phrase, you are the earth, it's making me feel like I want to be outside in nature. So it might be that even just by getting outdoors, and I know when you're burned out, you know, the tendency is to sort of feel a bit sorry for yourself, stay indoors, sort of lounge about a bit. I think this is a call to get out, get outside. It will make you feel better. So into nature if you can, whatever that looks like for you. You know, if you do live somewhere rural, get out into the woods, get out into the moors, into the mountains, whatever. I mean, that's amazing if you live in those places. If you're in more of a town sort of environment, find your local park, get out in your garden, any green space that's going to help you just sort of reconnect with the fact that we are part of this majestic earth. You know, it's majestic power, and there is energy that is generated by the earth all of the time, you know, and it can help to rejuvenate us. You know, there's loads of studies showing how just spending time around even house plants can help to lift your mood and make you feel better. So get out into some greenery, or bring more greenery into your life. Okay. So for this one, the tarot cards that came through are the Six of Swords in reverse, the Four of Cups, and the Ace of Swords in reverse. Okay, now when this one's upright, this is all about moving forwards into calmer waters, moving away from the past. So I get the feeling that you are kind of being held in the past, and that is backed up by this card here. This is all about sort of victim mentality, feeling a bit sorry for yourself. And I get it, that happens when you're feeling burned out. If you feel a bit wronged, especially if you've not known your limitations and you've been saying yes to things and maybe being overburdened. So, you know, she's got these cups that are empty here, and that's what she's focusing on. She's feeling a bit sorry for herself, a bit miserable, but because she's looking down, you know, she's not seeing this cup that's being offered to her. And this is what I've just said as well about that, looking at what support you've got around you, what's your bigger picture, what's your support network like. Okay, so this one, when it's upright, is all about having absolute mental clarity in what you want to do moving forward. So that's come out in reverse as well. So it's like this victim mentality is keeping you stuck in the past, keeping you from moving forward into calmer waters, and it's combined with this lack of clarity about what it is that you actually need to do moving forwards. Okay. Now the next thing that came through, the next channeled message, was just the word Saturn. And Saturn energy is all about discipline, structure, responsibility, lessons learned, and using all of those things. So I've had this message coming through very subtly for the past few readings about self-care. Now I do feel like some of you had a routine of self-care that you've kind of let slip for whatever reason. And I know here in the UK it's currently the school holidays, so if you've got kids, might be that your self-care's slipped a little bit because you're so busy looking after the kids, anything like that, you know. So something that you used to do for your own well-being that was good for you, you're being asked to start that up again, because by doing that, it takes you out of your mind and any overthinking you might be doing, and it turns this lack of clarity back into clarity when you give yourself some headspace. So I'm thinking of things like yoga, meditation, daily walks, anything that gives you rest, mental rest, away from whatever it is that's caused the burnout. What else? Saturn also is currently in Pisces. Now Pisces is all about daydreaming and having ideas, sort of intuitive things dropping in, but it kind of can't be contained because it's so like airy fairy. It's all this. So with Saturn being in Pisces, it's a call to sort of pin down these daydreaming ideas that you're having with some structure. So maybe just do like one thing per day that is relevant to these daydreaming ideas that you have. Okay, now I think for a lot of people, there's a big thing in a lot of sort of social media articles, things at the moment, a lot going around about finding your purpose. And it's so hard to do, especially if you're in a burned out state, and it almost puts the pressure on you to, well, I feel like you're putting pressure on yourself to know what your purpose is and what you really want to do. And the call here is to just don't worry about it, don't overthink it, just start doing anything that you enjoy. And so by getting back into a self-care routine, spending time every day doing something that's about these daydreaming ideas. Oh, I'm so sorry, that noise was my dog. You might be able to hear her in the background. Actually, she's been licking herself and I think she's just coughed up a hairball. Sorry about that. I should have mentioned earlier, I mean, I'm sort of deaf to the noise that she makes because I'm just so used to it, but you've probably been wondering what the noise is in the background. Anyhow, so with Saturn being in Pisces, so that disciplined energy mixed with the daydreamingness, it's kind of like an opportunity at the moment to manifest any creative projects that you want to move forwards with, or just anything that is important to you. So something that you might want to get back into, a hobby perhaps, or just anything. So set an intention of what you want to spend your time doing and get some structure in place and some boundaries around it as well. So say that if you decide that every morning, as soon as you wake up, you're going to do a yoga practice, stick to it, and let everybody else in, you know, who shares your space with you know that that's what you're going to be doing and that is your sacred time. Easier said than done when you've got kids, I know. But this is the way in which we're going to turn this magician from being this way up, you know, with the lack of control, to being back in control of creating your own reality. So it might be that there are things that are beyond your control, you know, like things like your job. You can't just, you can't just change some things, that they're there and we have to kind of accept them, but just start to take control of the things that you can control, that are and start small with it, and you'll see it'll kind of have like a bit of a rolling effect moving forwards. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, actually the next card I got through was the 8 of Wands, which is all about things moving forwards quickly. But I think there is a little bit of a warning here to not let these daydreaming ideas just kind of rush ahead with anything. Get your priorities right. Look at what order you need to do things in. Okay, and the card that I got alongside that was the Page of Cups. So he's all about daydreaming. and cups are all about, you know, sort of your emotions, your feelings. So yeah, really getting a feeling for what it is that you want to enjoy doing at the moment, and make a plan about how you're going to move forwards with those things. And like I say, it doesn't have to be anything massive. Just if you can do something daily, great, but if not, even just setting aside a bit of time per week to make a start on any daydreaming activities that you got, but just make sure you've got that structure and discipline in place, so that these things don't kind of float away. Okay. Now the next channel message that came through was, it's not black and white. And I think that just sums up life in general, doesn't it? But I did ask for some cards to clarify this, and I actually got 3 come out. I generally only take 2, but sometimes a third one will jump out at me as well. So I got the 10 of Pentacles. Now this is all about stability and having a happy life, you know, being surrounded by abundance, a happy family life, happy home life. So yeah, I think this is the thing that most people are aspiring to, joy and abundance. Okay, But then I got the Hanged Man. Okay, so he's all about looking at things from a different perspective. And then I also got the Three of Swords. Now, this always looks like a really awful card, and it's sort of, when I draw this, I usually get the meaning straight away that there's been sort of deceit or wrongdoing. One of its meanings is about there being a bit of sort of backstabbing in relationships, cheating, that sort of thing. But in this particular spread, I get the feeling, I mean, swords are all about mental, your mental space, thinking, logic. I just get the feeling that you're kind of like deceiving yourself about what it is that's going to make you happy. Okay, so this is where you're being asked to take a different perspective. This is why this man has popped himself upside down. I don't like the name of the Hanged Man because it makes me think of not very nice things, but he's hanging upside down to look at things from a different point of view. So I think what this is asking you to do is look at where you're deceiving yourself about what it is that's actually important. Okay, and it's not black and white. It's, you know, and what are you sacrificing to get to this? Is that what's leading to the burnout? So just moving more away from logic and getting a feel like I'm being drawn to the love heart, and you can sort of see the energy that's coming off it around it. It's like get a feel for what's right and what's not right for you, and look at things from a different perspective. Okay, and tying in very nicely with that, actually, the next thing that came through is just the word subterfuge, which is using deceit to achieve a goal. So where are you deceiving yourself? Where might you be deceiving others? You know, telling someone one thing but meaning another. Okay, and for this one I got the Page of Swords and the Lovers. Now, the Page of Swords is all about being honest. Okay, he moves forward with honesty and integrity. He isn't deceitful. And I do think that this is all about being honest with yourself. And the Lovers, I feel like this is about yourself as well. It's about really looking at where you're out of alignment with something and coming back to yourself. It's about getting that love for yourself again, to avoid getting into a burnout situation. So I suppose this is tying in really nicely with all that I've just said about, you know, getting into a disciplined routine with whatever well-being practice it was. When I say that about being a disciplined routine, don't beat yourself up if you don't manage to stick to whatever plan you set. You know, that's the last thing we want to do, is start negative self-talking as well. It's, you know, if something else crops up, it's fair enough. Life happens. Because it's just about being more compassionate with yourself, really looking after yourself and moving forward with more honesty. No subterfuge, please. Don't deceive yourself about what it is that you need to do to achieve a goal, or what that goal even is. I know. Okay, now the end of this reading, I just think is really lovely, but I don't entirely know what it means. And this will be different depending on what your circumstances are at the moment and what it is that is this self-care, this dreaming that you've been doing. Okay, this daydreaming, right? And it was a scenario, was this one, and it was a classroom full of really young children, really young, you know, like primary school aged. If you're in America, maybe not kindergarten, but whatever's above that, whatever's after that. So, you know, young children, sort of, I'd say between sort of, you know, 6 to 8. Anyway, it doesn't matter how old the children are. Stop waffling on, Jenny. And anyway, there's a teacher stood at the front of this class, and he says, "Who wants to do this?" And every single child just throws their hands up in the air, like really excitedly. It's like, I do. And they're all really excited about whatever it is that this teacher's just offered that they're going to do. So I just feel like at the end of whatever it is that you're going through, there's hope there that there is something magical going to happen. I want to pull back to my Magician card. Where's he gone? Yeah, that you're using this Saturn in Pisces energy to manifest what it is that you want at the moment. Even if you don't know what it is that you want at the moment, just get into that routine of doing something that's for you, whatever that means, whether it's your well-being, whether it's something you enjoy. And then as an outcome card, I only drew one because as soon as it came out, I thought, I don't need any more clarification on this one. And it was the world. Look at that. So whatever it is that you're moving forward into, the world is yours. The world is your oyster. There are so many opportunities out there, and it's just up to you to create whatever world it is that you want. Okay. Yeah, so I'll leave it there because I think that's a really nice way to end. So as always, if anything has resonated with you, please do leave a comment below. I do love to read them. And also like, and if you've enjoyed this, please consider subscribing. Don't consider it, do it. And hit that little bell notification so that you get an alert every time I release a new video. Thank you very much for joining me in this space today, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye bye.